Have you ever felt like you just don't fit in? Like you're marching to the beat of a different drum and everyone else is in perfect step? Well, you're in good company. Today, we're talking about a man who was once considered a failure, a daydreamer, a rebel who couldn't follow the rules. This is the story of Albert Einstein, the man who would redefine our understanding of the entire universe. Let's rewind the clock. Imagine a young boy in late 19th century Germany. Little Albert wasn't exactly a prodigy, at least not in the way people expected. He was slow to speak, leading his parents to worrying. At school, he wasn't the star pupil. He hated the rigid, rote learning system. He found it stifling, crushing the natural curiosity that bubbled within him. His teachers saw him as lazy, defiant, and easily distracted. One even famously told him he would never amount to anything. Can you imagine hearing that? That you're a lost cause. This wasn't just a phase. When it was time for college, he failed the entrance exam for the prestigious Zurich Polytechnic. Failed, he was brilliant at math and physics, of course, but he struggled with the other subjects. He had to go back to a secondary school for a year just to catch up. Even after finally getting into the university, he wasn't a model student. He often skipped lectures he found boring, preferring to study the master physicists on his own time, devouring their papers in the local cafes. He was learning, just not in the way the system demanded. This rebellious streak had consequences. After graduating, none of his professors would recommend him for a university position. He was an outsider, too unconventional for the academic world. So what does a genius do when the world of academia shuts its doors? He gets a humble job as a patent clerk in Bern, Switzerland. Now, this might sound like a major step down a dead end, but for Einstein, it was a blessing in disguise. The job was relatively simple. Reviewing patent applications, it didn't demand all of his mental energy. This left his mind free to wander, to explore, to conduct the thought experiments that would become his trademark. Picture this, a young man sitting at a simple wooden desk, surrounded by technical drawings of other people's inventions. But in his mind, he wasn't in that quiet office. He was riding on a beam of light. He was imagining what it would be like to travel at the speed of light, looking back at a clock tower. With the clock's hands appeared to stop, these weren't idle daydreams. They were profound questions about the very nature of time and space. The year 1905 became known as Einstein's Annus Mirabilis, his miracle year. While working at that patent office, this supposed failure, this academic outcast, published for groundbreaking papers that would completely upend the world of physics. One paper introduced the world to the most famous equation in history, E equals mc squared. It revealed the incredible and tapped energy hidden within matter. Another explained the photoelectric effect, laying the groundwork for quantum theory and earning him a Nobel Prize years later. And another, the theory of special relativity, proposed that space and time were not absolute, but relative. Think about the sheer audacity of it. A 26-year-old patent clerk, working in isolation, had challenged centuries of scientific thought established by none other than Isaac Newton. He didn't have a fancy lab or a team of researchers. He had his imagination, his curiosity, and the courage to question everything everyone thought they knew. But his greatest masterpiece was yet to come. For the next decade, Einstein wrestled with a new idea, gravity. Newton had described what gravity does, but not why it does it. Einstein wasn't satisfied. He imagined gravity not as a mysterious force pulling objects together, but as a curvature in the very fabric of space and time itself. He pictured massive objects, like the sun, creating a dent in this fabric, and planets, like Earth, simply rolling along the curve. This was the general theory of relativity, a monumental achievement of human intellect. It was so radical, so counterintuitive, that it needed proof. And in 1919, during a solar eclipse, an expedition led by Sir Arthur Eddington confirmed his prediction. Starlight did indeed bend as it passed the sun. The news spread like wildfire. Headlines around the world proclaimed a new universe, and Albert Einstein, the former patent clerk, the supposed failure, became an overnight global superstar. Fame didn't change his core. He remained humble, often seen with his wild, unkempt hair and without socks. He used his newfound platform not just for science, but for peace, for civil rights, for humanitarian causes. He had seen the ugliness of nationalism and war firsthand, and he became a passionate advocate for a world united. But his life wasn't without struggle. He was forced to flee Germany when the Nazis rose to power, and he spent the rest of his life in the United States, a refugee who never forgot where he came from. He was haunted by the fact that his equation, E equals mc squared, had paved the way for the atomic bomb, a weapon of unimaginable destruction. He called it the one great mistake of his life, signing a letter to President Roosevelt that urged its development. It was a burden he carried until his final days. So what's the real lesson from Einstein's incredible journey? It's not just about being a genius, it's about the power of curiosity. It's about having the courage to be different, to question the status quo, even when everyone else tells you you're wrong. It's about resilience, about turning rejection into an opportunity. That patent office job wasn't a failure, it was the quiet space he needed to think. His story teaches us that true intelligence isn't about memorizing facts or acing exams. It's about imagination, creativity, and the relentless pursuit of why. It's about embracing what makes you unique, even if it makes you an outsider. The boy who was told he'd never amount to anything not only amounted to something, he gave us a new cosmos. He showed us that the universe is far stranger, more beautiful, and more mysterious than we could have ever imagined. So the next time you feel like you don't fit in, the next time someone doubts your dreams, remember that quiet patent clerk in Bern. Remember the power of a single mind to question everything and, in doing so, to change the world forever. Nurture your curiosity, follow your passion, and never, ever let anyone tell you what you can't do. Who knows what universe you might discover? Thanks so much for watching. If this story inspired you, please hit that like button and subscribe for more stories about the remarkable people who have shaped our world. See you in the next video.